Welcome to Enhancing the Human. I'm Dr. Jena and Dan, a renowned expert in the field of human enhancement. I've spent decades of my life exploring all aspects of human health, which has allowed me to take people from extreme injury and disability to peak athletic performance. I use cutting-edge advancements, breakthrough technologies, and scientific insights to push the boundaries of human capabilities. The human body is able to do so much more than you think. Let's start enhancing the human. Hi, and welcome to Enhancing the Human. I'm your host, Dr. Jena and Dan, and today we're going to talk about things in your life or things in health and wellness that can actually make a difference and actually variables that can make a change in your health and in your life. So today we're going to talk to Dan Witmer. He is the owner of the official Jump Rope Dudes. He's been changing lives every single day, and he has 1.2 million views on YouTube. He's been doing this for a long time, and over his experience and all of his years working, and mine as well, we've uncovered the ways to do it right and things to think about that will actually make a difference in your life. So let's get to the episode. I just want to tell people a little bit about you, though, and like what you do and how you used to not always be in shape.
Yeah, cool.
Samesies. But it's funny because people act like you're unstoppable, but you realize you've come from so far and you were the same person that whole time, except you were just a little bit differently conditioned. And it's like you see your lens, or you see life through your perspective, that lens. And it's really crazy to see how people hold themselves back. And I like talking about that and just how everyone probably acts like you're always in shape and everything comes easy to you, but that's not the case.
Hard work. A lot of hard motherfucking work.
But you lost a significant amount of weight, didn't you?
70 pounds.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All at once?
Pretty much. It was, over the course of like probably 5 or 6 months, but yeah, like one shot. And then I've kept it off since then. I've
never even really talked to you about this.
Like we haven't, no.
You told me about it because I never knew. You just said your history, but I never knew like your motivations behind it. Was there motivations, or you just like, I'm just done?
Well, I played high school football, a little bit of college football, and was just under that same, like, I think a lot of people have this relatable story of like, you get done with college, you're not going to play pro sports. Now you're in the workforce, but you still are, I was like, I'm a bigger guy. So I'm like eating a ton, I'm drinking a ton. And I'm just like, but I'm not playing sports anymore. And I'm like, okay, I'm 260 pounds. I don't want to weigh 260, but I need to find a way to lose weight that I can fit into my lifestyle and still enjoy it and all that.
So you were in shape, and then your body was basically, or you were doing so much activity, it just made up for what you were eating. And then when you got out of school, got it.
Or like I wasn't like overweight, like obese, like I couldn't walk and stuff. Right. And I think that's what a lot of people can relate to. I think a lot of people are active people who just have a calorie surplus problem because of the lifestyle that we live in Western society. Like you go to the grocery store, there's just more food than you ever need to eat. There's bars everywhere. Every place has a good burger. Like it makes it so easy to just overeat. So I think a lot of people are still pretty active and they want to lose weight, but they're just busy.
It's true. But also, if you look at a picture of people 20 years ago, no one was as obese as we are now. So like the quality of our food has definitely changed. I feel like systemically, a lot of loopholes have been uncovered to be able to get away with allowing certain things in foods. And I feel like it's not regulated as closely as people think it is. And so that's what I feel is like, because people try hard, but it's like everywhere you look, there's so many different issues with health. It's like you can't get ahead of it.
And yet we have all the information, more information than we've ever had. And people can't, I don't want to like misquote anything. So I'm not going to say like this study is legitimate, but like I was listening to something that was talking about, I think it was like a doctor in a different country talking about apparently in the United States, we have like crazy, not the opposite of barriers. Like there's so much like shit in our food that in other countries, like they would not allow.
Yeah, no, it's illegal. They're illegal. Other ingredients, and we market to kids. So You know, in Mexico, they're not allowed to put, Tony the Tiger on a box of
I
cereal.
didn't know that.
And there's warning labels in other countries on these candies saying like, I look up. So I quote science because that's all I look at. When people are like, did you hear? I don't hear. I look at these clinical articles, these experiments that are the highest level of evidence that we have. So as humans, like I know this is what we know. And there's no one can say different because I collect data from a lot of different areas, but those are also funded by the pharmaceutical industry. So you have to be careful with reading and making sure that you look into what they were talking about, what the parameters were, the variables were that they used. But it's pretty crazy to see how everything's allowed in our countries, even the makeup, like beauty products. You have no idea.
I mean, it's just like I talk about this a lot with jump rope dudes. Like, it is a crime that you walk in. Like we tell people, and I'm a big believer, you are responsible for your own body. If you want to lose weight, it is up to you. Don't blame it on all these things. Having said that, when you walk into a grocery store, it's kind of like the companies have no responsibility here.
No.
This isn't look at all these colors that
Yes.
they're making people like addicted to the food, and they're
Yes.
like, oh no, but it's your responsibility. There's like this many fast food joints on the corner, but no, like you have to. It's like, I think it's your personal responsibility, but these companies are not making it easier for people that are tired at the end of the day. They just want to come home and like, yeah, they're beat and they're like, I need to eat something. They walk into a grocery store and it's like, that ice cream looks pretty good. Those Tony the Tiger frosted flakes look pretty good. And it's like, I think it's messed up how we demonize a lot of other food and substances, like alcohol, for example. It's like, go to bars, do all this. And it's like, well, it's poison. Same thing. Grocery stores, you walk in, it's like sugar. Sugar is
Poison.
one of the worst things for you.
I love when the advertisement is 100% real meat. What was it before? And like, why is that? And we're all like, oh, great, 100%. Like, no one, it's all psychological manipulation. Even the colors, like you were talking about, some of the foods don't need to be dyed a certain color, but the corporations know psychologically people will purchase that item more frequently because of that color. It's been shown in research.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty crazy. But speaking of that research, the food dyes and things that are in these colors directly linked to cancer.
Yeah.
Directly linked to autoimmune disease, directly linked to ADHD in kids. And then we're sitting here prescribing them medications that have side effects that, we're not going to know for 20 years, some of them.
Yeah.
So it's weird how we don't fix problems. We kind of just dance around
I know.
the problem.
A big theme recently is I'm like making all these videos talking about I sort of recently stopped eating dessert, not because I tried to. I just stopped, like, I don't know, like I just no longer I just eat real food.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I'm not trying some diet. I just slowly started to like cut things out. Like, for example, if I go out to a restaurant, I have a steak. I started to realize, like, wait a second, why do I need the potatoes and the bread? It's just like filler food that doesn't really do anything for me.
Right.
What I really want is that delicious steak. That's like an actual piece of meat. But I think, like, if you really look at what we're putting into our bodies, it's just a bunch of filler and crap instead of just like, eating real food, which is, I feel like at this point is almost taboo to talk about. But
even if you eat real food nowadays, the soil is so garbage that you're not even getting the nutrients. Like, eat a strawberry in France versus here. It's like, what are we consuming? Because it's so delicious out there. It's so flavorful, and there's so many, you can taste how different it is.
Yeah.
And so imagine too, I was talking about this recently on a different podcast where we talked about the pesticides, and these are new pesticides that we didn't have 30 years ago. So now all of this runoff into the water, it's in the soil, like things are being poisoned. Like, one of the experiments I was talking about was atrazine. It's a pesticide. I think it's in Roundup, and they introduced it to frogs, and it was all male frogs. The male frogs started developing female parts. So they had both parts, and then they started reproducing with the other male frogs. just by introduction, just a little bit of what we get as far as, exposure to this chemical. And so just, we don't know what's happening because we've never had that kind of chemical for that many years. And now that's the way our FDA and WHO work. They're like, oh, hey, sorry, we were killing people. Lots wrong. My bad. Let's bring it back. And then let's try to cover it up, basically.
Do you follow I don't know like much about this guy, but Gary Brecka?
Yeah.
Isn't he one of the guys who talks about like pesticides and fruit and stuff?
Yeah. So he was an insurance guy. So that's what's really interesting is they see it in the trends of the death and the health. So there's certain things linked to certain areas.
Man, I just feel like when we have these conversations, it's almost so frustrating that you're like, man, if this is legal, what are we gonna? It's almost like what are you going to do about it?
Right?
Because people, like a majority of people, are just trying to like pay their bills, provide for their family,
But imagine if life didn't have to be that hard because the system has been so corrupted for so long. I don't want to ban before we even get started. Canceled.
Yeah.
So, but it's true. Imagine if we didn't even have to have a 9 to 5. Like, where are our taxes going? That's what's so interesting to me.
Man,
like,
don't even.
But there's no accountability there in anything. But yeah, we have to be accountable for everything we do. So it's just, if it seems like this big thing where we don't have control, but we really are the only ones that have control, and that's why it's hidden from us so often.
Yeah.
So imagine if you could actually spend more time with your family and not be poisoned. Even food, it poisons you so much, your memory is gone. You feel lethargic. My employees and I did a juice cleanse. So we drank juice for a week straight, no food.
Yeah.
And nothing tastes better than the food you eat after that because everything's so flavorful. Like you're saying, you don't want dessert because you don't crave that.
Fruit. I get it from fruit.
Right.
That's
and
dessert.
you're satisfied.
Yeah.
You start tasting this stuff that you haven't had, or like actual sugar. It tastes disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
You realize, I know when someone's addicted because everything that's sweet, usually you can't handle that and they can handle it. I'm like, you're addicted.
I never thought about that. Like the idea of a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Like looking at that as like, oh, I just have a little sweet tooth. It's like, you might want to look into that a little further.
I think that's a you problem.
You're addicted to cocaine.
Oh my gosh. I've been looking into parasites too. Now here we go. So a lot of things, we're one of the only countries that doesn't test for parasites.
Are you talking about like in meat and stuff?
In everything. There's GMO parasites too, but we don't have to go there. Meats, they can be from your animals. They're everywhere.
I just saw
Sushis.
I know this is like, but this isn't, I just saw a TikTok that was like someone putting some kind of liquid on a steak that they bought from the store.
Yeah, you pour
These parasites just came out of it. And I was
there's
like,
worms in there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's like one, those are visible ones. There's amoebas and things that you can't see either.
So,
especially the tap water.
Can I ask you something though?
Let's hear it.
So, because this is something that I try to talk a lot about with our audience, because the way I see it, like you and I are super into health. You and I are like, we can get into the nitty gritty of this and maybe make even a good amount of lifestyle. I mean, you do a lot of like different lifestyle stuff to like ward off all these, dangers that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But the difficult part is like trying to relay all this information. Like what, right? Just someone who has like a regular day job and is trying, again, like they only have so much time in the day to think about this stuff.
Right.
What do we tell those people? Because I'm not going to start telling people don't eat fruit because there's pesticides on it. Like that orange is going to be better for you than the Snickers bar at the gas station.
Exactly. Exactly. And some days you don't have time. So I always say, pick your battles. So it has to be for the individual. But I always say like, do what's going to make the most difference. Because I have people, if you stress yourself out about doing something, you're physiologically releasing hormones. You're creating stress. You're creating inflammation in your system. So like, if you think something's wrong and you stress out about it, you're doing just as much damage as you would if you would just do the damn thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow, do the damn thing. That's his motto. Tattooed on his forearm.
It's not.
Your motto.
It's not tattooed on my body or anything.
So now I lost my thought. But yeah, no. So as far as like getting the most for what you're going to do, that one little thing, like say you want one cookie, don't stress out about that. What's going to make the most difference? So as far as what kind of foods to choose, USDA, like they're corrupt as well. Like as far as regulations, everything's a corporation. It's not like they're trying to be malicious. Some of them probably are, but everything's a corporation. They're trying to profit. So they're doing as little as they can to make the most profits until things go wrong. And then they're like, hey, bring it back, bring it, reel it back in. People found out, people are dying. Let's bring it back.
Yeah.
So that's where with the USDA, even though they may be corrupt, they're the most regulated type of food. So when you see that USDA certified sticker, you are regulated under that sticker. So in order to carry that mark, they look at you're not using pesticides. The soil has to be a certain, hydration. There's a lot of standards that go underneath that. And you can't do mass farming. You can't put hormones and antibiotics in your animals because mass production, it's unbelievable what they do to these animals. And they try to make them fatter and these hormones. Then we're ingesting this stuff. So that's where you're going to get the most from the food area. As far as water, don't drink from the sink.
Yeah.
For the love of God, do not drink from the sink.
I did that for so long out here.
But it's like now, because back in the day, we used to drink from the hose. Now, because I look at the trends and what's found in the different bodies of water across the country, it's unbelievable. There's like we're going to turn into mutants from going into Lake Tahoe. Like it's lead in there. It's like there's so much garbage from runoff from things, again, pesticides and things that we're not supposed to be utilizing in our environment, but that's what's happening. Everyone talks about green and all that. That's
yeah. What do you think about fasting to clean out 100%. That kind of stuff, like water fasting?
Yeah. One of the best things ever. So your body goes into a state when you restrict things, just like when you grow, when you go through turmoil, that's when you have your most growth. It's just like that. When your body feels like, oh my gosh, we need to survive, it starts going into different resources. So the cells that are bad cells internally, if you don't have anything to create energy, your body's going to go looking for it. Hey, this foreign object inside of me, let me eat this for energy.
Yeah.
So it actually starts to break down the bad tissues and the negative things and radicals in your body.
Because I feel like, what else would you say? It's like everything we're talking about, it's like, don't drink the water, don't eat this food. It's like, man, how do you, what do you think are the most impactful? Like, so it's really popular now to talk about cold plunge, sauna.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like those little things that you're making, like those gains you're making from those changes, if you're drinking out of the sink, I don't care how many times you do the cold plunge. I'm sorry, you have antibiotics in your system, and like
that's what
what I mean.
Like, what's your, if you had to be like
hyperbaric chamber,
you can only do 3 things.
So first of all, focus on your foundational aspects of your health: your breathing, your sleeping, hydration, your nutrients, and all of that. Because the breath work, if you hyperventilate all the time and you're polluted with CO2, you can think you're healthy but still be polluted in an acidic, toxic environment. So the foundational stuff, and then like I said, the USDA, you're getting a lot for that because at least you're a little safe here. Whereas everything else, you have no idea how bad that really is for you and like what those products are doing to your system. So those 2 things with the water is that bad. There's like viruses in water, like it's bad. Even like raw oysters and things. I love oysters, and like you never know what body of water that came out of and what's in that water, because that's what we're polluting, and it's through these corporations, not through gas cars. But that's for another day. But so that, and then if you're going to pick a modality, then it should be the hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. So as far as the amount of change you're going to get, the hyperbaric chamber is an oxygenated state, a hyper-oxygenated state. So you're introducing oxygen to the system. Like, when you put the oxygen on, your system only absorbs so much. So that's not doing anything for you. Like if you're at 93, 94, which you shouldn't be anyway, yes, it can help introduce more oxygen directly to you. But as far as benefits you're getting, if you're a normal, healthy person, you're not gaining a lot there.
Yeah.
The hyperbaric chamber changes skin. It's anti-aging. It's everything, every system in your body. So that's what I look at health as, is like how this is a machine. only focus on one thing but nothing else, then it doesn't really matter. Nothing's going to function well. So I look at things that are going to change the board across the entire machine.
Yeah.
That's where quality of the food. Don't drink the water so bad. If you go and look at, they test the water, and these things are listed. They're not out there when you start Googling, because everything that's at the top is at the top on purpose.
Yeah.
So you see a select few articles. And
don't even get me started on that.
It's crazy. It really is. And then like I'll even type in things word for word and it won't come up. So just know the searches are ran by the corporations that are selling this stuff. So, that's why being your own advocate, it's hard to when everything is so corrupt. But once you start weeding through that and paying attention to what feels right and what feels wrong, you can kind of navigate a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because we have intuition, like some people more than others, but you feel when something's not right.
Yeah. When that water doesn't taste that good.
This is not hitting the spot.
I mean, I'm not to make a joke of it, but I kind of do have to laugh sometimes at this, because it's like it's just so messed up.
It is.
Like, how is this the reality that we're living
right
in?
And then you get this disease from this water that you're drinking, and they're like, here's these medicines, and it's like, and then people have patents in the medicines that are making the money on it, and I'm just like, it's just a weird world that we're in. And it's funny too how fitness and health is kind of shunned in a way where it's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. What really drives me crazy is when you're in medical school, you don't go and take classes on nutrition. You don't know anything about the rest of the body.
Yeah.
So how do you know how it works?
Yeah. There's so many variables. It's like a problem of variables. There's so many different things that are, first of all, unique to your genetics. And then if you're, super healthy and you do everything right, but then like you smoke cigarettes just a little bit, or like there's all these things that could like it's really hard to say when someone's like, oh, that guy died at, 95. Here's why. It's like, well, that's really difficult to be like, he did these things, so if I do them, I'm going to have the same result. It's just.
Well, and there's a lot of research on the thought behind doing that. So if you sit there and you shame yourself every day, I can't believe I did that, or I shouldn't have smoked that cigarette, I shouldn't, and then that's going to cause more stress and toxicity to the body than if you were to not care. Those people that do eat Skittles every day for their whole, or whatever, they don't care. They're just doing it because they want to do it. So it's all about how you think. The thought is vibration. It's
I fully
powerful.
agree with that. My favorite one, by the way, this guy lived to be 112 years old in Austin, Texas. And he died like a few years ago, when they asked him, what was your secret? He was like, he said like whiskey, cigars, and ice cream. But he was like very thin. So you could tell this guy probably fasts. Like he probably, is doing something else unknowingly.
Yes.
That is keeping him alive for this long.
Yes.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the mind is powerful. If he's happy with what he does, that, you come, when you're happy, you come with a more grateful heart. So it's like, there's something about that where maybe that's, that energy changes. We're so passionate about this because we see the little changes that you can make in your day to day that can completely impact your health. Like, we don't have to eat garbage made of plastic. If we just modify and have this ingredient instead, that might, make the corporations a little less profit, but it's not going to kill people long term. Those, or give kids ADHD to where they need to be put on these toxic medications. Like, maybe we could survive. Maybe it's not going to be so hard to be on that diet and you can actually get somewhere. That's where, like, I'm not trying to do things to just like talk bad about, corporations. I just feel like if we make these little changes and people care, I just don't think it's glamorized. So it's not really talked about, and it's hidden in a lot of ways. So I feel like we're really passionate about health and we can make changes in people's lives, and you have too. So just talking about, you went from being out of shape and then right into working out and then jump ropes, or you actually like, that was down the line?
Jump rope was what made me lose all that weight.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the thing that stuck.
Got it.
And so that like started me on the path to being like, Well, just in line with what you said, I feel like there's so many variables and it's so confusing that my thing became, look, man, if you don't know what to eat, dude, I can promise you, if you move your body and sweat,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yes.
Like no matter what other things might be causing you harm, I promise that you should sweat every day.
Yes.
Like I know that will be good. The blood will flow. You're going to get rid of toxins through sweating. Like it's going to improve your cardiovascular system. Like it's good for you.
Yes.
And it's, that same thing of like, if you don't know what to do, man, just go outside and move. Just go jump rope or run or
at least
whatever.
You had that one variable that you can control, that you know.
I think that's why I lost the weight, because I was like, it was the only thing that I would do consistently. Like I could have lost that amount of weight running or lifting weights and watching my diet, but I think jumping rope was like the only thing that I was consistent with.
And I feel like it's low impact enough to where you can do it. And it's still a really good workout, but it's not going to take away. Because like with weightlifting, there's so many different variables. Do I use machines? Do I do functional training? There's so much to think about. Whereas that one variable, like you said, just getting those calories in, it's so important because that's where you can make changes, the consistency. It doesn't have to be all this fancy stuff. That's what's so funny. It's like everyone's looking for that magic pill. And it's like, it's not a magic pill. You just make smarter choices.
Yeah. Wait, did we talk about, I don't think we did. Like the fact that the fitness industry and the weight loss industry, multi-billion dollar industries, yet we are more obese than we've ever been. So it's not a question of like, people don't have an information problem. No. The information of what you need to do is out there.
Right.
It's a taking action problem.
But I also feel like, there's a lot, I look at ingredients of things and some of this stuff is marketed as healthy and it looks all, green and healthy and wow, it looks great, but it's lies. It's manipulation. So some of the stuff has been manipulated to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside when really it's the same toxic shit. It's just a little more expensive.
Granola.
Yeah, it's that.
Like
oats,
people
all
like,
of that.
oh, I eat a bunch of almond butter. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you want to be just, like just take it easy on that.
Right? Too much of anything is not good for you, but it's like what we're made to believe. Even breakfast cereals, all that was made, like sugar. And like oats are one of the worst things for you as far as the pesticides that we were talking about. It's crazy. We're not supposed to eat oats.
The cereal thing's a mind boggler.
It's
like there's
all of that cholesterol, all of that.
Cookie Crisp.
Oh man, love that Cookie Crisp. They used to cut my gums. I didn't even care. Those fucking sharp ass cookies.
Yeah, so true.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But were we addicted at the time? Because I honestly you eat that stuff now. Still fucking
no, but you're right. I know what you're about to say, and you're right. I don't.
It tastes different. You're like, how did I eat this?
Yes, it's not because we've gotten away from like all the sugary stuff in our friends' cabinets when we would have sleepovers, and now, when you eat good fruit and stuff, and then you have a bowl of cinnamon
Your
toast
body
crunch,
recognizes it.
Yeah,
and then you feel horrible afterwards. You can feel the inflammation.
Yeah.
Or if I have patients, I remember because I traveled with one of my patients and their family, and the one girl was like, "Give me that Rice Krispie treat," but it was a healthy one. And I'm like, "No, you're not gonna like it because she's addicted to taquitos or whatever those grow everything, Takis, and just Starburst, everything, the worst of the worst." And so I'm like, "You're not gonna like my thing because it's not health or it's healthy, so it's not gonna taste. You're gonna think it's disgusting." Because I remember when I was addicted, and then I went back to eating healthy, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is gross. What is this, cardboard?"
Yeah.
And now through fasting and through getting rid of all the junk in my body and my bad habits, you go and eat that. And it's the best thing you've ever tasted.
Yeah.
Because your body is healthy. So your system is completely cleansed. You're not addicted to the sugar.
I mean, if you think about it, the universe, I feel kind of set everything up right. I feel like the universe created fruit so that's your dessert, man. That was supposed to be dessert.
Even our herbs, everything. There's a lot that can be done with our health. Natural food, natural things that grow.
Yeah. Would have thought.
But I just like what you've done overall with you're not trying to make everything all fancy. You're just hey, get up, do your jump roping and just get it done. And people have lost a lot of weight and you have a lot of subscribers. I like that.
Thank you.
You motivate people.
That's what I'm good at. Like I'm not good at doing what you do, and I feel like that's why we always have great conversations, because like when I hear you talk about some of the research you do and stuff, I'm like, damn, like that's so interesting. Like I'm on the other side of like I feel like the thing that is authentic to me is I'm totally just the motivator. I love to be the guy up in front of people, just being like, I don't care if you know what you're doing, or just come on, like let's do this, and like leading people through workouts or videos or whether it's in person or online. I feel like sometimes people just they get too overwhelmed with complexity. And the way that I see myself fitting into the fitness market is being the guy who's like, hey, it's cool, don't freak out, let's just move our bodies. That will do something, and that will be a catalyst for something else that's good. So if you start moving your body, maybe then you'll start eating less sugar, or maybe you'll start cutting out more alcohol or whatever it may be. But I try to approach it as like, meet people where they're at. Don't try to give them all these like,
no, because then you turn them off to it.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I just made this video the other day about the reason people continue to struggle with losing weight is because they have all these bad habits that are slowly over time created, that get them to this place where they don't like. And they think, okay, starting Monday, I'm going to cut out sugar. I'm going to work out an hour a day. I'm going to do a cold plunge.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, you just did your habits over 5-10 years got you here.
Yes.
You're going to have to reverse it with habits one at a time and do that. You're not going to just, if you try to do all these things, you're going to be done in 3 days.
Right.
You're not going to like,
because you overwhelm yourself even more.
Yeah. Like one thing I've been telling people a lot is do 20 push-ups every other day. Like something so stupidly easy. They're like, dude, 20, that's not going to do anything. I'm like, I bet you won't. Like if you stick to it, I bet you it'll start to create this mentality of like, I'd do my push-ups every day. Even though it's 20.
It doesn't matter. That would change someone's life. I tell my mom, do 10 lunges on each side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you that consistency will change your life. And then you get motivated because you feel better. Yeah. It's easier to do things. You don't feel as sluggish by the end of the day. You start to feel yourself more circulated. You have more energy. So those motivations compile, and I'm telling you, and like even the whole thing, like you said, you build it up so big in your head that you just fail before you start.
Exactly.
I tell everyone, because like, I got to go to the gym. I got to do this. No, you don't. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Walk around the block. Walk one time to the stop sign and back, the one outside your house or whatever.
Yeah.
One thing. Just do that one. Because like, I have people all the time that are like, send me this, send me that. No, you're not going to do it. Why? You're wasting my time. You're trying to make it me so that you can yell at me for, it's all you. We both know you're not doing that.
I made like videos about this recently too, about how like, it's obviously the video's on YouTube on our channel, and in the video I'm like, you're watching this video because you think I'm going to tell you something that you don't know already. Mm-hmm. There's a million of me. There's a million heads like me, these fitness people on YouTube saying, do this, do that. I'm not going to give you anything that you don't already know. You need to go do it.
Right.
You need to go do something. Like it's almost a form of like, I view it as, which is a funny thing to say, but like when people watch our content, I'm like, you're being lazy.
Yeah.
Stop watching me. Like, go do something.
Yes, because it's easier to watch someone, and it's like paralysis where the time goes by, but you haven't moved forward with what you want to do. And it's easy to fall into that, especially with technology. So I appreciate you doing that, making it about what the person needs versus just trying to make money off of it. And I feel like we need more of that. Because that's where if you have something, you have a good product, it's going to sell. You don't have to cheat people and put ingredients that are going to kill people long term. That's where like, if we're just a little more informed and we have a little bit more accountability, because we're all just animals. These people at these regulatory bodies, like maybe they got a little too comfortable. That's where human beings need to be kept in check or keep each other in check to where we're always on the right track. We don't get too corrupt. And it's like, we just need a little bit of change there so that we can live better lives, because we should have completely different lives and people don't even recognize. It's crazy. And if people only knew, it's unbelievable. And seeing like the propaganda behind it, and then people call me a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, the science everyone's always talking about. Like, I read the science. I literally read the science. So like, I don't know where you're reading from, but like, this is literally what we're doing. So it's pretty crazy because things are marketed in a certain way because it sells.
Yeah.
But I care more about people than I do about money.
Yeah.
Money's just paper, you know what I mean?
Totally. And let's not like be total Robin Hoods here. It's like you can also make a lot of money just fucking telling
doing the right
truth.
thing. That's what I'm talking about. Like maybe you won't make that much, like you would have if you cheated people out in that short period of time. But once people realize and trust you and they realize that you have something worth trusting, then that's worth more than anything. And those are long-term relationships that you're gaining there.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. So I always tell people, like, do you need a jump rope to lose weight? No. You don't need anything except your body.
Exactly.
And those people, like, just me saying that, they're like, shit, no one tells me to not buy their products.
Exactly.
I'm like, dude, you don't fucking need it.
I do the same thing. I'm like, use your environment first. Like, if you have money laying around, like I have mobility tools too. I'm like, yeah, you can buy this, but you don't need this. Yeah. Use a door handle. Use your bike that you never ride that's holding your laundry. So there's certain things that you can do, but it's trying to get past that.
Well, psychology. And then the people that hear me say that typically end up buying a jump rope because I'm like, if you listen, I mean, this is the tool that I use, but like, don't think that I'm going to tell you like, you're not going to get the right result unless you buy my product. It's like, dude, you're just a human flesh sack. Like you don't, if you have some water and a place to sleep and some food, you can get ripped just pushing on things and squatting and all that
Farmer
stuff.
Strong.
Yeah. Just
100%.
Like moving your body.
People are like, you're probably in the gym hours a day. I'm like, no, I know how to turn my stuff on and I have. And then when I move in daily life, like I literally box once a week and that's my workout. Like I'm trying to do more, but as far as consistently, that's all I have time to do right now. But I'm lifting things and I lift things with my muscle, not with my back. Yeah. So everything I do, like I can be ripped still, because you're moving correctly.
The body doesn't know if you're in equinox or not.
Right.
It's like, just like pick this thing up, put it down.
I told everyone, because everyone's like, oh, I got to get in the gym. I'm like, we're so fat and lazy as a society that we made gyms to go move.
That's such a
Remember when I told you that a long time ago? Yeah. And I remember your mind, you're like, oh my God. I'm like,
it's true.
Literally.
Though. Like,
because we don't move that, like, just move outside. Like, that's it.
Man, the amount of things, like walking. People, man, if you take one thing away from this podcast, go on a walk. Like,
literally.
It's the easiest form of like being healthy, and you can lose body fat. You're getting blood circulation. It's good for your heart.
Circulating your lymph. So as far as beauty things, get rid of your swelling in your face because things can actually move now because your pipe's not all clogged down because you're not sitting on the couch all day long.
Yeah.
So like cater to people's motivations, but like there's so much you can do on a smaller scale where you don't, like you said, you don't need that cold tub. You don't need, do what you have. And even there's a lot of research on just a cold shower. Let's start there, instead of like jumping to, I have to do this, and then shaming yourself because you didn't do this.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do this.
I kind of fell into that trap a while ago with the whole morning routine thing.
Yeah.
Not so much like physical, but like my working environment. I was like, I need to be one of these guys that wakes up at 5 and does all these things. And I've realized like, man, I make the most money when I just wake up and start working. Because then I work for a few hours and I get my best work done. And then
you're sleeping well. You're not stressed out. So you're yourself. Yeah. Trust me, we overthink things as human beings, but it's because we're conditioned to do so.
We're always looking for like that. Like we're always looking for more.
Right.
There's got to be. I feel like we are always trying to categorize and figure things out that have so many variables and are very hard to figure out. And yet we always want to be like, no, something's taking place over here. A lot of people are doing this. So like, let's call it a thing and sell it.
Yes.
And it's like,
but then we don't hold that standard across. Like all these things that are injected and all of that, we don't have research on that. True. We don't know what that's going to do. And it's like, and we've even like these cardiac drugs we were using 20 years ago, 20 years goes by and they're like, oh, bring it back. That was causing more heart attacks than it was. Our bad. Yeah. Like that's the number one drug for the heart that was being used was causing more heart attacks. Like, who is monitoring this? Why did it take that long to recognize it? But that's what I'm saying is like people think that all these variables are controlled because no one would let that happen if it was hurting people, but that's not true.
Yeah.
People have been doing it for so long, it's now become the thing to do because money has become more important in our society than people. And that's not okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode. There's so many variables to take into consideration when it comes to making a change within your health. So I hope you gained a little bit more clarity behind things that will actually make a difference and help you change your life. Once again, reach out to the official Jump Rope Dudes if you want to look into a little bit more about Dan. You can like, share, subscribe to our channel, and you can always reach out to us on Instagram if you have any questions. See you next time.